The girl's entire family is allergic to bees, but she and her mother find themselves trapped inside a car surrounded by 22 million killer bees. The two women in the car realize that they are approaching an accident scene where a truck has collided with a smaller car, causing an explosion. The truck is now speeding towards them. The woman quickly slams on the brakes, and though the truck driver eventually stops, the truck's cargo falls off, breaking open, releasing countless killer bees. Looking around in fear, the woman realizes they are surrounded by the bees, but the windows are still closed. Meanwhile, the truck driver, who hadn't closed his window in time, is attacked by the bees. He quickly exits his vehicle and pleads with the woman to let him into the car. She refuses, knowing that opening the door would mean certain death for both her and her daughter. The man collapses outside, helpless, while the bees continue to swarm around their car. Desperate, the woman calls 911, explaining the situation and giving their location. She tells the operator that her daughter is allergic to bees, and the operator advises her to prepare adrenaline shots. Soon, police officers and firefighters arrive at the scene. The police begin rescuing people from the lower levels where bee activity is less intense, while firefighters focus on rescuing the trapped women and dealing with the truck driver. The emergency services work to prevent the bees from spreading to other areas of the city, but the heat has made the bees more aggressive. The truck, carrying 22 million killer bees, is a serious threat. Firefighters, suited up in protective gear, enter the area, only to find the truck driver already dead, having succumbed to the bee stings. They then begin rescuing the woman and her daughter, but the car is surrounded by bees, making their task nearly impossible. Using CO2 spray to clear the bees fails to work effectively, as it doesn't remove many of the bees. The bees have clogged the air vents, making it impossible to use water pumps. The firefighter commander requests more reinforcements. Inside the car, the woman realizes with horror that a bee has made its way inside. She quickly closes all the vents, but the situation remains dire. Her daughter is in danger of being stung, which could trigger an even more aggressive response from the bees. The two must remain perfectly still, hoping that their sealed environment will minimize the chances of getting stung. Meanwhile, emergency responders find another victim who has weak vitals and is barely alive. While attempting to help, they discover bees emerging from his mouth, blocking his airway. The woman and her daughter are also facing life-threatening situations. A bee lands on the girl's face, and the woman manages to swat it away, but the girl seems to have been stung. The operator urges the woman to find the adrenaline shots, and she soon learns that her family's bee allergy is genetic. The pheromones released by the bees make them even more aggressive. Just as the girl struggles to breathe, the woman frantically administers the adrenaline shot into her daughter's thigh, allowing her to regain normal breathing. But as soon as the woman relaxes, a bee stings her in the neck, causing her own breathing to become labored. She struggles to use the remaining medicine for herself, but it's too late. She loses consciousness. The daughter, in a panic, manages to extract the remaining medication and injects it into her mother's thigh. Miraculously, after what feels like forever, the woman begins to breathe again. Outside, the fire department uses smoke to drive the bees away, and the woman and her daughter are finally rescued and rushed to the hospital. But the threat is far from over. The 22 million bees are still swarming the skies, forming a massive bee tornado that heads towards other parts of the city. Experts are tracking the swarm using radar, but they lose the signal by sunset. The bees are expected to rest during the night and resume their attack in the morning. At a nearby party, the bees suddenly attack, and people are stung in a panic, scrambling for safety. One woman, unable to make it inside the house, jumps into a pool, hoping to escape. As the bees surround her, she is severely stung, and the situation becomes critical. The fire department works desperately to rescue her, but the danger grows as the bees continue to terrorize the area. In a dramatic moment, one firefighter is stung by a bee while attempting to save the woman, nearly causing him to drown. Fortunately, he is rescued, and they begin a new strategy to distract the bees. Using perfume to lure them away, they manage to draw the bees toward one of the firefighters, and the remaining rescuers rush into the water to save the woman. After a tense struggle, the woman is finally brought to safety, but her health is severely compromised. She is struggling to breathe, and her heart rate is dropping. The firefighters are forced to remove the bee stingers one by one, hoping to save her life. After an agonizing procedure, her condition stabilizes, and she is carefully monitored in a medical tent. Meanwhile, the situation with the remaining bees continues to escalate, leading to even more terrifying consequences.